Welcome back to McDuffie's Math. I had a request for a video for a student who is in pre-algebra and is working through solving two-step equations. So this is what we're going to work on today. So let's consider this equation. Now keep in mind that it is an equation because it equates two things, and that everything on the left side of the equals is equal to everything on the right side of the equals. And that the key to solving equations is to keep that balance. So we want to make sure that whatever we do to one side, we're doing to the other. The other thing that we want to keep in mind is that our goal is to isolate the x, get the x by itself. And I often describe this as with a series of questions that we're just going to ask ourselves. So the first question would be, what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to get x by itself. Then what is preventing our x from being by itself? Well, there's two things. There's the 2 and this 3. Those are the two things that are preventing my x from being by itself. Now, in order to get the x by itself, we have to think about what order is going to make the most sense to move the things that are causing the x to not be by itself. So we're always going to start with the things that are furthest away from the x. So that plus 3 needs to be removed from the left side. So the plus is what's attaching it. So the opposite operation of addition is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. Notice that we're keeping it balanced. We did the same thing to both sides. And once we've subtract that, we get 2x on the left, and on the right we have -9. Now, what is preventing our x from being by itself? The 2. What operation is attaching it to the x? Multiplication. What is the opposite of multiplication? Division. So we're going to divide both sides, keeping it balanced, by 2. The 2's divide out, and we're left with x is equal to -9/2. Let's say we had -7x minus 5 is equal to -2. I like doing the line and encouraging students, especially who are new to solving equations, to draw this line that separates the left from the right. It just helps us remember that we are working on either side of the equals and we need to keep that balance. So we're trying to get the x by itself. And what's preventing the x from being by itself? Well, the first thing we want to get rid of is that -5. And yes, it is subtracting 5, but it's the same thing as adding a -5. But we want to do the opposite operation of subtraction, which is addition. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. That's going to leave us with a -7x equals 3. Now what's preventing the x from being by itself? Well, that's the -7. What operation is attaching it to the x? Multiplication. And what's the opposite operation of multiplication? That would be division. So we're going to divide both sides by -7. One common mistake for students is they feel like they always have to change a sign. When we're dividing, in order to get rid of that -7 that's being multiplied by the x, we actually have to divide by -7. So don't get it confused with changing the operator like we did in the first step. So in this case, x is equal to -3/7. What if we had x over 2 plus 6 equals 4? So we're separating our left and our right side. What are we trying to do? We're trying to get the x by itself. And what's preventing the x from being by itself? Well, the first thing we're going to move is the thing that's furthest away, so that plus 6. So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. And that's going to leave us with x over 2 is equal to -2. Now, what is preventing the x from being by itself? The 2 is this 2. And what operation is attaching the 2 to the x? It's division. And what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So we are going to multiply both sides by 2. Those are going to cancel out, and we're left with x is equal to -4. Let's do one more. Let's say we had 1/4 x minus 14 equals -20. We want to keep our equation balanced. What do we need to get rid of to get the x by itself? The first thing we're going to move is the -14, so we need to add 14 to both sides. That's going to leave us with 1/4 x is equal to -6. Then what's preventing the x from being by itself? Well, the 1/4. And what operation is attaching it? Multiplication. So we would divide. But when we divide by a fraction, remember we are multiplying by the reciprocal. So we can also think of it as multiplying both sides by the reciprocal, which in this case is just 4. So x is equal to -24. If I can get it to write the 4. There we go. So that's just a few examples of solving two-step equations. Certainly there are many more steps we could add in. If you like this video, remember to subscribe and like it. And if you'd like for me to do a special video for you, add it in the comments and I'll make my next video for you or your student. Thank you for watching.